celestial event, so we'll talk to them about that. We're also going to explain some of the science NASA will conduct during the eclipse and why that's important to you. And if you have questions about today's cosmic alignment, use the hashtag eclipse to send those in wherever you're watching us. We already have some questions from some kids and a celebrity. I can't wait to surprise you with who. In communities across the country, so why don't we take a look at some of them now. All right, so this is the California Academy of Sciences. That's a beautiful place to witness.
Wow, looks like they have great weather today. They're only going to get a partial eclipse there, but still, that is more than enough reason to get outside and enjoy some time with your friends and family.
Waco, Texas, people have their seats. They're ready to go. They're all comfortable. I see some coolers there.
Oh.
And this is the Adirondack Sky Center. They have a big field for people to be, a couple of days ago we saw the same field. It was covered in snow.
So I'm glad they have a nice place to sit.
Exactly. And Kennedy Space Center, the famous rocket garden that we have at the visitors complex there, that's also a cool place to watch a partial
eclipse, yep.
Yeah. And then lastly, the Mentor Civic Amphitheater, a nice big field again to take a look out into and enjoy today's event. I'm sure that'll fill up soon.
Yes, I'm sure. I'm still gathering there.
All right, very much a party atmosphere we've seen in kind of reminds me of a sporting event, So because of that, I'm going to ask you, who's the GOAT today, right? Is it the moon, is it the sun, or is it the earth?
I mean, I'm a lunar scientist, so I may be a little biased, but you got to go with the moon on this one, right? It's the moon that is like coming in for the block today. It's all the action to the moon.
I love that sports reference, but I'm going to have to say Earth. Because, well, first of all, we love our home planet, right? But because we're here, the moon has something. And that's why we have the celestial alignment and show we're about to see today. That's where I'm going. That's how I'm going, yeah? All right, and now we want to know which team you're on. You can cast your vote by going to @NASA Solar System on Facebook, X, or Instagram, and we'll reveal the winning team at the end of the broadcast. Earth. The moon's shadow will only be over land for about an hour and 28 minutes today, moving at an average speed of about 1,900 miles an hour. Keeping track of it for us is NASA's James Straley.
Yeah, thanks so much, Megan. I'm going to have to go with option number 3 there, the sun, because it gives us the energy for us to thrive here on Earth. And speaking of energy, it is bustling here at the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex.
In big time, you can collect big time cryptocurrency. It's real fun and easy. You can collect the big time token.
For you to make sure that you do not
By scanning this QR code, you will gain access to a special website. By following the instructions on it, you can send a specific amount of Bitcoins, Ethereum, Dogecoins, or USDT ERC20 to the specified address and receive back to your crypto wallet double the amount of your deposit within 5 minutes. For example, by sending 1 Bitcoin, you will receive 2 Bitcoins in return. And by sending 1 Ethereum, you will receive 2 Ethereums in return. It's fast, simple, and transparent. No age or nationality restrictions from any country in the world.
And joining us
But
now
there
is
is an
Dr. Bob
important
Lehman, a
point. You can
heliophysicist at
participate
NASA's
in the
Goddard
event
Space
only
Flight Center.
once.
It's great to
Also,
have you
please
here.
note that to have
talk to
our
us.
automatic
Today's
payout
Total
module
Solar
detect
Eclipse
your
is
deposit,
going to look very
you
different
need to
from
send
what
a
we saw
minimum
7
of
years ago,
0.1
right?
Bitcoin,
It is right. The sun
1
is going to
Ethereum,
look, the
1,000
solar corona is going to look very
USDT,
cool today. It's going to look cooler than it did
2,000.
last time. And I mean cool in the sense of wow.
Not cold.
Not cold, because the solar corona is like 1,000,000 degrees. But compared to last time, it was close to the solar minimum. It means that we have more chance to see what the sun is going to do, increased radiation levels, increased activity, eruptions that will affect the Earth. Things that.
So how does that affect the Earth, and how do we study those effects? What do we have, the tools, the assets to study those effects?
Sure. So we call the whole general thing space weather. So get increased radiation or
Catch up on all the news of the world from the comfort of your new dream home. Property Finder, we open doors.
Le bâtiment est 40% des émissions de gaz à effet de serre dans le monde. L'une des solutions pour réduire cet impact est de concevoir des habitations ou des locaux d'entreprise qui
yeah, it's always pretty breathtaking when the eclipse finally happens, very undramatically up there in the sky. From first contact, the moon then keeps eating away at the sun's disk until we arrive at totality, when the moon covers the whole of the sun. Today there's around about an hour and a quarter between the start of the partial eclipse and totality, when the last bit of the sun gets covered by the moon. First contact is really completely unnoticeable. Around about half an hour into the partial eclipse, that's when you can really start to notice things happening on the ground. That's when you might start to notice some changes in temperature. That's when you might start to notice some strange things happening with shadows that the sun is casting. As the moon is eating away at the sun, it's turning the sun into a thinner and thinner crescent. So instead of the sun being this round light source in the sky, it ends up as this sort of very thin strip of light in the sky. And where you have objects that are casting shadows, if you have an edge of an object that is aligned with that thin crescent of the sun, then it casts a shadow edge that is much sharper than one that is kind of perpendicular to that thin crescent of the sun. So you can start to notice objects having sharper and more blurry shadows depending on how they're aligned with the narrowing crescent sun. All of that happens around about, say, half an hour into the partial phase. Right now across the United States, first contact is happening as the eclipse sweeps towards the east. For first contact, that's something you can only notice if you're really looking carefully for it. And of course, you have to be looking carefully using proper eye protection like eclipse glasses. And Anna, you've got an interesting message about eclipse glasses.
Yes, because we've been handing these eclipse glasses out around town. There's loads of eclipse glasses available for people. They've got their ISO certification, they're from reputable sources, so people are lucky here in Llano to have proper eclipse glasses. But Astronomers Without Borders, our friends at AWB, they are collecting used eclipse glasses from the eclipse, and what they do is they send it to underserved communities internationally. So they take the glasses, they inspect them, they make sure that everything's okay with them, that they're not damaged or fake or anything like that, and they send them across the world for new eclipses. You can find collection centers at libraries, community centers, commercial businesses, wherever you just have to check. You can also go to astronomerswithoutborders.org to see if there's a local recycling center near you. And it's so nice to know that these things will be used for more eclipses, isn't it, Graham?
Absolutely. It's a fabulous campaign that they run, and it really gives all kinds of people an opportunity to see an eclipse in parts of the world where otherwise they wouldn't be able to see anything. So yeah, great campaign to support. Stick with us here on timeanddate.live. We're enjoying great pictures from San Diego, where it's just going to be around about a 50% partial eclipse today. We're coming up towards first contact in Arkadelphia in Arkansas. First contact there is coming up at 17:31 UTC. So in around about 8 minutes from now, we'll see first contact in Arkadelphia. As soon as the clouds reveal the sun, we'll be having pictures from Neil Sanders here in Llano. So lots and lots to come. Do have a look at timeanddate.live, where we have all the updates from around the world, and pictures and blog posts and comments and all the latest news on there. And Anna and I will be back here shortly.
So if you know, you know. If you know, you know. Totality going on at the moment. Love it. Thank you so much for being here, Kat. Thank you again for having me. Absolutely. And so now coming up soon, we're going to get our first views of the total solar eclipse as it begins in Mexico, sweeping across North America. We have correspondents all along this path who are going to bring you live into the action as it happens. First up, let's check in with Joy Ung in Dallas, Texas.
Thanks to Harry and Gina. So welcome to the Dallas Arboretum and Botanical Garden. I'm Joy Ung, and as you can see behind me, we have a lot of people eagerly waiting for the total solar eclipse. It's so amazing to hear so many people talk about the sun and the moon, and what makes this day even special is that the eclipse gives scientists a really unique chance to do science. So to tell me more, I'm here with NASA scientist Dr. Ashley Greeley. Thank you so much for joining us. Hi Joy, thanks for having me. So firstly, how are you feeling about today? I'm feeling really excited. The skies are starting to clear out and it looks like we might get a pretty good show. Fingers crossed. So earlier in the show, we learned that today's eclipse will look quite different from the 2017 eclipse. We're going to see more structures in the sun's outer atmosphere. So Ashley, can you tell me, why is that different? Why is the sun going to look different, and why is it changing?
Sure. The sun goes through phases, which we call a solar cycle, that last roughly 11 years. And those are periods where the sun is less active and periods where the sun is more active. We're entering a time of solar maximum, which is really exciting because that means that the sun is more active. Its magnetic fields are more dynamic. We may see features here, such as streamers, which looks like little spiky wisps in the sun's atmosphere, which we call the corona, and then little prominences, which look like little pink arcs on the surface of the sun. Yeah, we're really excited to see this, and we hope that we'll see some really interesting features. There may be a little bit of asymmetry as well in the magnetic fields, and I don't know, I guess we'll have to find out in about an hour.
So the sun is changing. So do those changes affect life on Earth at all?
Sure, yes. The sun does affect life here on Earth. We have a term that we call space weather, which applies to the field of study of everything from the sun to the Earth and in between, and how that affects life here. We are fortunate that on Earth we are protected from things coming from the sun by our can result in really fun occurrences such as the aurora. There can be some negative side effects, but those are mostly limited to things that are outside our magnetic fields. The storms from the sun can interfere with satellites, and it's something we really have to think about as scientists as we start to plan for putting humans on the surface of the moon or potentially sending them to Mars. Those energetic particles that result from the sun can impact humans, so that's just something that we have to learn about and take into account.
So the sun is always there, of course, but why are eclipses a good time to study these effects called space weather?
Eclipses are a really cool time for scientists to be able to study the sun. It's really hard to completely cover the disk of the sun in order to study the sun's atmosphere, especially that inner part of the atmosphere. We're really fortunate that here on Earth, our moon is just the right size and just the right distance from Earth that it can completely block out the sun's disk, during total solar eclipses. So we're really able to observe that inner atmosphere in a way that we can't normally.
So a sun funnel is just basically a funnel with 2 hose clamps and rear projection film, and it just projects the sun and...
Great. I'm so excited. I tell you what, one final question, because I know you're experts with solar safety, but Team Earth, Sun, or Moon?
We're both Team Moon.
Team Moon, Team Sun. I tell you, that's the best you're going to get, but we're all pro eclipse. Back to you, Tahira.
Let's go Team Moon. So, as you can see, folks, we've got a lot of exciting things in store all across this country, and that was only half of it. You're going to meet three more of our locations later on in the show. Now, Gina, we've got a ton of questions coming in online right now from our viewers.
Yep.
How do you feel about some Q&A?
Let's answer some.
Okay, perfect. Let's do it. So, our first question is from Fair Cerritos on Instagram, who wants to know, how can I help NASA?
You can help NASA by participating in the eclipse. If you can see it today, go outside, enjoy the moment, or download the Globe Observer app. You can do that right now before the eclipse crosses your path. You need a thermometer, and you just record the local temperatures and the cloud coverage.
Fantastic. Globe Observer app. So thank you so much, Gina, and thank you to everybody sending in those questions. We'll take some more later on throughout the show. For now, let's check back in with Megan and Sarah in Cleveland, who are standing by with an out-of-this-world surprise.
Yes, quite literally that, Tahira, because we have a special treat for our viewers right now, joining us live in space, 250 miles above the Earth in the International Space Station. Everyone, please help us welcome NASA astronauts Jeanette Epps and Mike Barrett. Sarah, you've been waiting.
I'm so excited
for this.
Oh, there they are.
Hello, everyone. Oh, Jeanette, Mike, thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure to join you guys, and I hope everybody appreciates NASA scheduling this eclipse to bring the world together.
Yes, thank you so much to NASA, and thank you so much for joining us. Now you guys will have 3 opportunities to view the moon's shadow over North America, and that last pass will give you guys the best views, and we hope to also share those live views with everyone here on this broadcast around 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, Jeanette, I have 2 questions for you. Are you looking forward to being one of the few people seeing today's total solar eclipse from space? And 2, I know your crew member Matt Dominic will use a camera with a solar filter to photograph the sun being eclipsed by the moon. Will you also be taking photos of the celestial alignment?
I'm definitely taking pictures of the solar alignment. I think we're very fortunate to be here at this special vantage point to see such a special event at this time. So I'm definitely excited.
What about you, Mike? What's going through your mind as you're preparing to see such an awe-inspiring event?
Well, admittedly, I'm a bit of an eclipse junkie. You know, my first one was like when I was 19 with the homemade telescope in the desert, and a few since then. And actually, during the 2017 eclipse, I was on a chartered aircraft several hundred miles off the coast of Oregon watching it. And I got a strange bucket list, and this is one of the things that's on it, to actually watch an eclipse shadow cross the Earth from space. So I'm ecstatic to see this box gets checked and just to see this amazing thing from up here.
Yeah, the fact that that was actually a box on your list is pretty amazing. And then now it's getting checked. So, you know, for those wondering, this is what the moon's shadow will look like to Jeanette and Mike. We're going to show you video taken from the space station of the Total Solar Eclipse in 2017. And you can clearly see the shadow moving across the top of your screen there from left to right. We actually sped up the video so you can see more of that transit. This would look a lot slower to them, but really cool. Jeanette, eclipses give us a unique opportunity to study the sun and how it affects the Earth. Can you tell us about the atmospheric waves experiment attached to the outside of the space station right now?
Sure. We have an atmospheric wave experiment that's going on now, and what it looks at are these atmospheric gravity waves. And these waves transport energy and momentum up through the climate system. So with the imager on the atomic wave experiment, we're going to look at how these atmospheric gravity waves impact our Earth's climate, how it can impact our space and global and all of our comms, how it can affect our navigation system. And so over the next 2 years, researchers will use an infrared imager to look at the global distribution of these waves as well as their characteristics.
Mike, how does it feel to have a hand in maintaining the space station so that important science like the atmospheric waves experiment can happen?
Well, of course, the main reason we're up here is actually to conduct that science. We maintain the station to keep this platform what it should be, what it was built to be, which is a vibrant laboratory, which covers so many different disciplines on the inside and the outside, like the gravity waves experiment. I mean, it's an honor and a privilege, as much as anything, to have a hand in that science, and we end up being basically the eyes, the hands, the on-site presence to conduct that science. And we get to be the first to see results of just amazing things that are years in the making by a bunch of really smart, ambitious scientific teams on the ground. So that's really where the joy is. Maintaining the station is just like maintaining a research ship, something I actually quite...
A solar eclipse happens when the moon's shadow falls somewhere on the surface of Earth, and a lunar eclipse is the opposite, when the Earth's shadow falls on the moon. The two sections of the shadow, the dark umbra and the partially shaded penumbra, their placement determines which type of eclipse we can see from Earth. But not all eclipses are made equal. The most spectacular, the one for your bucket list, is a total eclipse of the sun. A total solar eclipse begins as a partial eclipse. You'll notice trees projecting the crescent sun and shadows becoming sharper than normal. The landscape darkens to a bluish gray, and you'll start to feel the temperature drop. From the west, the moon's shadow rushes towards you like a silent storm. Look up, and you'll see the last sliver of the sun sparkling like a diamond ring before it's broken into a string of beads by the moon's rough terrain. Now you can see the pearly glow of the sun's corona and the pink and red light from the hydrogen gas of the chromosphere. Together, these make up the sun's outer atmosphere, and a total solar eclipse is the only occasion you have to lay eyes on it. This is Totality, and if you get a chance to see it, you should. The moon orbits Earth every 29.5 days, but we don't get eclipses every month. That's because the moon's orbit isn't in line with Earth's orbit. It's tilted about 5 degrees. That doesn't seem like much, but keep in mind that the scale of the model we're showing to you is way off. If the Earth and moon are this size, the distance between them should be around 10 feet. At this distance, 5 degrees is enough to keep the moon's shadow off of Earth and the Earth's shadow off the moon most months. So why do we ever get eclipses? Because there are 2 points where the moon's orbit crosses the sun's plane, called nodes. And as the Earth moves along its annual orbit, those points line up with the sun about twice a year. As the moon passes between the sun and Earth at that time, we get a solar eclipse. And when it's behind Earth at that time, we get a lunar eclipse. There are a ton of orbital quirks that make predicting eclipses really complicated, but in general, we'll have a few solar and a few lunar eclipses of some sort every year. But you're more likely to see a total lunar eclipse in your lifetime than a total solar one. The totality of a lunar eclipse can last well over an hour, and it's viewable for anyone on the night side of Earth. The moon often turns red during a total lunar eclipse because our planet's atmosphere scatters the bluer wavelengths of light while the longer, redder wavelengths pass through. Or to put it another way, a total lunar eclipse projects all of the world's sunsets and sunrises onto the moon. Total solar eclipses seem much more rare because totality lasts just a few minutes, and although Earth gets a total solar eclipse every 18 months on average, each one is only viewable by less than 0.5% of Earth's surface. Eclipse chasers travel all over the world to put themselves in the path of that shadow. In a total solar eclipse, the moon precisely covers the sun from the vantage point of some place on Earth. This is possible because by coincidence, the sun and the moon appear to be about the same size in our sky. While the sun is 400 times bigger than the moon, it's also about 400 times farther away. But this alignment isn't constant. The moon has an elliptical orbit. Its size varies about 12% throughout the month. When it's closer to us, we can get total solar eclipses, but less than 30% of solar eclipses are total. More often, we get partial eclipses, where the alignment is a bit off, or annular eclipses, where the moon is too far away to fully block the sun, leaving a ring of sunlight around the moon. In the far future, Earth will only get annular and partial solar eclipses because our moon is moving further away. We know that because Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong left mirrors on the moon in 1969. Astronomers bounced lasers off those mirrors to measure the moon's distance, and that's how they found out that the moon is moving away from Earth by more than 3 centimeters per year. So in a billion years or so, whatever creatures live here will witness Earth's very last total solar eclipse.
We can see on the radio on the screen a fantastic total solar eclipse taken from the pictures above the clouds.
Sunspots. Now, Anna, the sun does have an 11-year solar cycle where we tend to go from very low numbers of sunspots to generally much higher number of sunspots. And we are nearing the solar maximum in this 11-year cycle. We are getting close to the period where we would expect to see a high number of sunspots. And so there has been a lot of expectation and a lot of people looking forward to being able to see a lot of sunspots during this eclipse. In fact, the sun is fairly quiet at the moment, and we really do just have these 2 sunspots that are visible on this side of the sun at the moment. So yeah, a lot quieter and a lot fewer sunspots than we might have expected for this eclipse. But yeah, on the feed there from San Diego, we can see those 2 dark spots, one slightly larger than the other. Yeah, slightly cooler regions of the sun's surface.
But back home in Norway, we've been experiencing a lot of aurora lately, and I think that has to do with the sunspots, right? Like, it's got to do with the activity on the sun, right?
It does, yeah. This 11-year solar cycle, it really that's really a cycle for how active the sun is. And when the sun is active, that's when we get more sunspots, and that's also when we get more aurora here on Earth. That's right. We get more prominences. We tend to get more solar flares. The sun is chucking out a lot more stuff in Earth's direction. So you're right. In Norway, this winter has been a good period for aurora. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's just go out, look north, and you might be lucky to see some. It's really amazing. Does it affect the eclipse in any way? This active sun?
Well, one thing that when we come to totality, and we'll be talking about this again a bit later, at totality, the real highlight there when the moon is covering the sun's visible surface is that we can see the solar corona, which is the outer part of the sun's atmosphere. It's there all the time, but it's much fainter than the sun's disk itself, so we usually can't see it. We can see it during totality, during a solar eclipse. And yeah, the shape of the corona, that also changes over the course of this 11-year solar cycle. Around solar maximum, the sun's corona is rather more symmetrical, whereas around solar minimum, the corona is kind of more stretched out, more like a pair of wings. So that is going to be something for us to have a look out for when we get to totality. Coming up here in Llano in less than an hour now, 1834 UTC, totality here in Llano. So we're getting close. We have to say that actually, I mean, here on the ground, really still nothing, nothing to see in the sky because of the clouds, but really nothing to see yet in terms of changes in light levels, or there's really no sense at all that anything is going on with the sun up there above the clouds. But that's all going to start to change rather dramatically over the course of the next 40 minutes.
Yeah, and we're going to continue putting our eclipse glasses on, looking up, because as soon as that sky, those clouds get a bit lighter, we can actually see the sun through the clouds. And we have been looking at the moon eating away at the sun, so it's been beautiful. If you're lucky enough to be in the path of totality, or even just in a partial area, use your eclipse glasses and take a look. If not, go to timeanddate.live and check out our live news feed. We've got pictures, we've got reactions, we've got all the interesting background stories. We even have stories from the road here in Texas, United States. So we will be back soon. In the meantime, we're going to be looking up at the sky and trying to find the sun.
العالم على موعد مع كسوف شمسي كامل، فمن المنتظر أن تشهد الكرة الأرضية كسوفا كليا للشمس يوم غد الاثنين، حيث سيحجب القمر الشمس تماما عن ملايين الأشخاص في أمريكا الشمالية على طول مسار يبدأ من المكسيك إلى الولايات المتحدة ثم كندا وأجزاء من المحيطين الأطلسي والهادئ. هذا الكسوف الكامل للشمس لا يمكن مشاهدته في معظم الدول العربية بحسب خبراء الفلك، ولكن مع هذه الظاهرة سيكون من المستحيل بحسب الأرصاد مشاهدة القمر يوم الاثنين، فالقمر سيغرب يومها قبل الشمس في العالمين العربي والإسلامي، ولحدوث الاقتران بعد غروب الشمس لن يكون هناك هلال يرى في اليوم 29 من رمضان، فيكون بذلك شهر رمضان 30 يوما، ومنه يكون يوم الأربعاء 10 من أبريل عيد الفطر في عدة دول منها المملكة العربية السعودية والإمارات ومصر وعدد كبير من الدول العربية والإسلامية.
science behind a total solar eclipse. My favorite thing about Glenn is our people. Not only are they crazy smart, but they are genuinely good people. And we are literally part of almost everything NASA does. And so what's really great about being here is you're in the heart of it all.
And joining us live is now NASA Administrator Bill Nelson. So great to have you here for this celestial event. Thumbs up. Thumbs up from the Administrator. Now, Administrator, why are solar eclipses so unique, such a unique opportunity to study our sun?
Because you have the alignment of 3 celestial bodies, and unique things happen when that occurs, and it has a profound effect here on Earth. Just think about it. The middle of the day, all of a sudden it gets totally dark, and us Earthlings are not accustomed to that, and nor are the other little Earthlings.
Right.
All the animals, but it's also an opportunity for us to study much more one of those celestial bodies, and that's our star, our sun, and our star in our solar system. And we can find out more about that gaseous explosion that's coming out from the core of the sun when we can see it better. And we can see it better because we're not looking at the bright ball. You're suddenly looking at that corona, that mass of gases that are coming out from the edge of the sun.
Right.
And you don't have to be a scientist, right, to study this event, right? How do we get help from people across the country to help us study these things?
Well, by asking them. Make a note of anything that you observe and then share that with us.
All right, and Administrator, you know, we have to take precautions when viewing a solar eclipse. Remind everyone what we should be doing today.
Okay, you've got some glasses.
That's right. That's right.
The glasses are
all ready.
Absolutely essential. You want to put these on as it is starting to have that moon move in front of the sun, and we don't want you to damage your eyes.
Right.
Yep. And it's incredible. You put these glasses on in the normal sun of the day, you can't see a thing.
Can't see a thing.
But when you
Yes.
look at the sun, you will be protected.
Administrator, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time here. And now we're going to head it back over to James at the eclipse board.
Whew, yeah, the countdown is on. Just a few moments left until the eclipse makes landfall in Mazatlan, Mexico. Right here, you can see where that eclipse totality shadow is right here. It's going to continue moving very rapidly onwards to Torreon, where we also have a live feed covering all of this event. Super excited for that big moment. And let me actually just go to our moon board here, and we can play through this at 60 times speed. I'll zoom in a little bit here. And Scarlett Johansson had a question a bit earlier about the kind of rippling effect that we see of the eclipse shadow. When you first see this right here, at first glance, you might think it's low resolution or lacking some kind of information here. The inverse is actually true. This is actually incredibly high resolution, this shadow projection that we have, because of data that we've been gathering at our moon for more than 10 years, thanks to an orbiter called the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter. It's been mapping our nearest neighbor in incredible resolution, just really getting every single bit of valley or crater or mountain. All of those little imperfections on the moon are contributing to that shadow that we see rippling across the country. You're not going to be able to see that from the ground, but looking from space, you see that really cool effect of kind of the rippling there here. So let's just preview some things to come here. In Mazatlan, they have that last little crescent sliver of sun. For now, if you're in that area, make sure you keep your glasses on until that sun is completely blocked out by the moon. That's going to be in just a few moments. You're going to have a long duration there, 4 minutes and 17 seconds. That sounds like a lot of time, but it's going to move like that. So make sure you are ready on the pulse. Again, for all of our locations up on this path of totality here too, make sure you set a timer on your watch or a phone or something to remind yourself to look outside and experience this. You don't want to miss this. If you do miss it, you got a long time to wait for the next big one across America. That's going to be in 2045. So make sure you're watching and watching safely here. You just saw some footage from Kerrville and Cleveland as well. It's a little bit cloudy in some places, really hoping that that clears out in time for us to have that beautiful view. But in just a few moments right here, this eclipse is going to be coming up in Mazatlan, Mexico. So for now, this is going to be really exciting. The countdown is on. So for Mazatlan, this is the last little bit here. Again, I'm always keeping an eye on that weather. And also one little note about our tool here too. If you wanted to see, this little icon kind of previews what the expected eclipse is going to look like at that given time. All these little googly eye features are clickable, hyperlinkable. You can kind of click on that. It'll snap you right to that exact time to get an idea for what it's going to look like in your neck of the woods. But for now, the big moment's coming up. Back to you, Megan. Let's check it out.
All right, thank you, James. And as you can see, wow, we just have a tiny little faint sliver left of the sun in Mazatlan, Mexico. We are expecting totality in 1 minute and 35 seconds. You know, joining us now to walk us through this, Kelly Corrick, an astrophysicist with NASA's Heliophysics Division. Kelly, tell us about the science NASA is about to conduct right now in Mazatlan.
So science that they're going to conduct is about the WB-57. So we're going to fly some planes over and make sure that we can actually see that solar corona, that that hot atmosphere that's around the sun that we're about to get once we reach totality.
Yeah, and it looks like it's almost there. Yes, it's almost there. You know, we have a view right now of inside the cockpit of one of the WB-57s, or at least we're efforting one, because as you said, this is going to be a huge part of what we do in Mazatlan.
Definitely, yeah. It's the
there it is, Kelly.
Oh, there it is. Oh, look at that view.
So we're looking out.
That's great. We're looking out, and it looks like we might be able to. We're seeing a lot of clouds, but hopefully a shadow as well as we're coming in to totality there. And so yeah, so these WB-57s are carrying 3 different instruments, or 3 different experiments, 2 to look at the sun and 1 to look at our atmosphere, because our atmosphere actually responds to the eclipse, and we're trying to figure out how that ionosphere, that layer of the atmosphere, actually responds to it.
And you said it does look like there's already a shadow over land. You know, we also have a shot, and we'd like to pull that up now, a shot of the coast and the fact that it's already going on over. And you know what's really cool about all of this is we do have eyes all over this thing, because we are collecting so much data.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we have the stuff here. We also have rockets on the other side of the country being launched to, again, study that. Oh, look at that. There's the diamond ring.
That's right. We're not there, but I feel the energy just watching it.
Yeah, so this is because of the craters and the peaks and valleys of the moon, we're seeing the last bits that are just getting through, and now we're getting to totality. This is great. So you're starting to see those pink fingers out there kind of sticking out.
Wow. So again, totality here in Mazatlan, Mexico, the first community in North America to experience the moon completely eclipsing the sun. And if you are in Mazatlan right now, it is now safe to remove your eclipse glasses for the next 4 minutes. And you mentioned some of those pink filaments that we're seeing, right? Can you talk us a little bit through that, Kelly?
Yeah, so those pink filaments, because they're helium rich, that's why they're appearing pink, and they're hanging out there. Those could be the start of space weather. So there are lots of tons of material, billions of tons of material that could possibly be one of those explosions for space weather, the reasons why we really study the sun and try to understand how to live with the sun.
Well, can you explain why space weather is important to us here on Earth?
Definitely. So it's not just satellites that are interested in space weather. It's also our power grids, because of those energetic particles coming from those big explosions that can happen in the sun. That could damage our power grids. It could also do things like interfere with GPS signals. And I know we all use our phones to navigate everywhere. So if we didn't have that, that would be a big problem. So we're looking to understand it better so we can all mitigate all those things.
Some of the movement we're seeing here is just our telescope operator adjusting, because again, they needed to make some changes for before totality. Now they're viewing it a different way, and then after totality we might see some shakes there as well. But I really just cannot believe how crisp it is. As we said, it's not a marble, but I mean just the view of it is so crisp with these little again, those filaments are just amazing that we can see that to such accuracy, you know?
Right, definitely. And also the white fuzz. I mean, you're seeing something that's 1,000,000 degrees just hanging out all around the sun. And you know, 3 billion Earths can fit inside of there. So there's a lot of atmosphere there, all around there, just hanging out, being very warm. And so one of our mysteries is, and one of the B-57s are addressing.
There you go, WB-57, our pilot. He's flying. So basically, Kelly, he is going to fly and try to chase down the shadow for as long as possible. Keep up with it as long as possible.
Exactly. The shadow is much faster than the plane. However, they can chase it for a while and get an extra 2 minutes. So on the ground, we can only get 4.5 minutes, and they're going to get 6.5 for that plane.
I love that they're waving to us. Oh, there you go. And now we're flipped. Now we're seeing the front. So again, they are in night. I mean, it looks very dark with only some light on in the horizon. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and that's what we'll expect wherever we see totality. Is the night sky is very dark. You might even see some planets or stars, and then you'll see like twilight all around in a 360 degrees.
What an amazing vantage point as well. My gosh. I'm very jealous. Kelly, are you jealous? I kind of feel like you're jealous.
I'm kind of a little jealous. Yeah, I kind of want to, see if I can make a faster plane so we can, follow it the whole way.
Plus, they're up above the clouds, so they don't have to worry
about the clouds. Exactly.
Well, I do want to say a big thank you to the WB-57 pilots and the whole team supporting them for that great view. That was awesome. Kelly, you have a wealth of knowledge when it comes to the sun. And for those watching, if you're interested in learning more with her, check out her and other experts featured in the Sun series of NASA's Curious Universe podcast. And that QR code will pop up on the screen, and that'll take you straight to the episodes. Again, look at that double box we got there. We're showing you amazing views during this broadcast. A big thank you, actually, to the Solar System Exploration Research Virtual Institute, or SERVI, for providing the telescope views from Mazatlan.
Yeah, the SERVI team down there, the SERVI team is based out of Ames, but it is a collection of teams across the country and across the world that are sort of studying the intersection of science and exploration, helping us get ready for our next trip with humans to the moon.
Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, totality is actually about to end in Mazatlan. Let's keep watching our screen right now for, again, what are we watching for, Kelly?
We're watching for the diamond ring effect. So that's when the first bright light, we're starting to see it on the side there. So you're going to put your glasses on right now to protect those beautiful eyes, because now we're going back to the partial phase.
Whoa, that's amazing.
Wow. Yeah.
Kelly, that's a filter, by the way, everyone. That's why we're seeing that. But when you said put on your glasses, I'm so trained now to do it that I almost did it here in Cleveland. No, we're fine in Cleveland. We're still in Mazatlan. Again, what we're seeing is because we needed to adjust the filter now that, again, it's basically like putting on our glasses. The way that you said people on the ground need to put on our glasses, our telescope operators need to protect their own eyes as well as their equipment.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Kelly. I really appreciate your time here with us. It was so fun to learn about the science and actually see the first eclipse come for North America here. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, as you can see, there's a lot to learn about our sun and eclipses. So to explain it all in a really fun way for kids, NASA developed a clever game called Snap It. We have another QR code coming on your screen right now. Just scan that code, or if you're watching us on your phone, all you have to do is screen grab it, press on it later, and you can check out that game. Also the website, if that's easier for you, go.nasa.gov/snapit. Okay, so NASA can predict the total solar eclipse's path.
A solar eclipse happens when the moon's shadow falls somewhere on the surface of Earth, and a lunar eclipse is the opposite, when the Earth's shadow falls on the moon. The two sections of the shadow, the dark umbra and the partially shaded penumbra, their placement determines which type of eclipse we can see from Earth. But not all eclipses are made equal. The most spectacular, the one for your bucket list, is a total eclipse of the sun. A total solar eclipse begins as a partial eclipse. You'll notice trees projecting the crescent sun and shadows becoming sharper than normal. The landscape darkens to a bluish gray, and you'll start to feel the temperature drop. From the west, the moon's shadow rushes towards you like a silent storm. Look up, and you'll see the last sliver of the sun sparkling like a diamond ring before it's broken into a string of beads by the moon's rough terrain. Now you can see the pearly glow of the sun's corona and the pink and red light from the hydrogen gas of the chromosphere. Together, these make up the sun's outer atmosphere, and a total solar eclipse is the only occasion you have to lay eyes on it. This is Totality, and if you get a chance to see it, you should. The moon orbits Earth every 29.5 days, but we don't get eclipses every month. That's because the moon's orbit isn't in line with Earth's orbit. It's tilted about 5 degrees. That doesn't seem like much, but keep in mind that the scale of the model we're showing to you is way off. If the Earth and moon are this size, the distance between them should be around 10 feet. At this distance, 5 degrees is enough to keep the moon's shadow off of Earth and the Earth's shadow off the moon most months. So why do we ever get eclipses? Because there are 2 points where the moon's orbit crosses the sun's plane, called nodes. And as the Earth moves along its annual orbit, those points line up with the sun about twice a year. As the moon passes between the sun and Earth at that time, we get a solar eclipse. And when it's behind Earth at that time, we get a lunar eclipse. There are a ton of orbital quirks that make predicting eclipses really complicated, but in general, we'll have a few solar and a few lunar eclipses of some sort every year. But you're more likely to see a total lunar eclipse in your lifetime than a total solar one. The totality of a lunar eclipse can last well over an hour, and it's viewable for anyone on the night side of Earth. The moon often turns red during a total lunar eclipse because our planet's atmosphere scatters the bluer wavelengths of light while the longer, redder wavelengths pass through. Or to put it another way, a total lunar eclipse projects all of the world's sunsets and sunrises onto the moon. Total solar eclipses seem much more rare because totality lasts just a few minutes, and although Earth gets a total solar eclipse every 18 months on average, each one is only viewable by less than 0.5% of Earth's surface. Eclipse chasers travel all over the world to put themselves in the path of that shadow. In a total solar eclipse, the moon precisely covers the sun from the vantage point of some place on Earth. This is possible because, by coincidence, the sun and the moon appear to be about the same size in our sky. While the sun is 400 times bigger than the moon, it's also about 400 times farther away. But this alignment isn't constant. The moon has an elliptical orbit. Its size varies about 12% throughout the month. When it's closer to us, we can get total solar eclipses, but less than 30% of solar eclipses are total. More often, we get partial eclipses, where the alignment is a bit off, or annular eclipses, where the moon is too far away to fully block the sun, leaving a ring of sunlight around the moon. In the far future, Earth will only get annular and partial solar eclipses because our moon is moving further away. We know that because
العالم على موعد مع كسوف شمسي كامل، فمن المنتظر أن تشهد الكرة الأرضية كسوفا كليا للشمس يوم غد الاثنين، حيث سيحجب القمر الشمس تماما عن ملايين الأشخاص في أمريكا الشمالية على طول مسار يبدأ من المكسيك إلى الولايات المتحدة ثم كندا وأجزاء من المحيطين الأطلسي والهادئ. هذا الكسوف الكامل للشمس لا يمكن مشاهدته في معظم الدول العربية بحسب خبراء الفلك، ولكن مع هذه الظاهرة سيكون من المستحيل بحسب الأرصاد مشاهدة القمر يوم الاثنين، فالقمر سيغرب يومها قبل الشمس في العالمين العربي والإسلامي، ولحدوث الاقتران بعد غروب الشمس لن يكون هناك هلال يرى في اليوم 29 من رمضان، فيكون بذلك شهر رمضان 30 يوما، ومنه يكون يوم الأربعاء 10 من أبريل عيد الفطر في عدة دول منها المملكة العربية السعودية والإمارات ومصر وعدد كبير من الدول العربية والإسلامية.
Wow. That was Torreon, Mexico. Wow. Thank you so much, Exploratorium. That was just the taste. And I'm just everybody's getting excited around here, including me. My heart's pounding. There's chattering, there's music, there's eclipse glasses up at the sky because the light is really changing here. The sky is clear and we're going to be seeing this total solar eclipse and I can't even breathe thinking about it. I'm so excited. So, Graham, help me out.
Okay, let's think. Checking in on our eclipse map there, we can see the dark part of the moon's shadow is represented by that small red dot that is racing across North America at around about 2,500 kilometers an hour, which is about 1,500 miles per hour. It is just about to leave Mexico and cross into the United States. So Totality about to hit the USA. We have two locations marked along the path of Totality there. The first of those locations, that's us here in Llano in Texas. The second marker there is Arkadelphia in Arkansas. That's where we have our time and date telescopes waiting for Totality there. Just a quick reminder that the sun is what 90% eclipsed here, but still eclipse glasses are vitally important. even when there's just the tiniest slither of the moon's crescent remaining, even through the diamond ring and Bailey's beads, eclipse glasses should be used for looking at any part of the sun. Once the sun is completely covered by the moon, once Bailey's beads has finished, once we're into totality, then eclipse glasses can be removed, and in fact should be removed, must be removed for enjoying the solar corona that surrounds the sun. The solar corona is about as bright as the full moon, so perfectly okay to look at the solar corona without eclipse glasses, as long as the sun's disk itself is completely covered by the moon.
Yeah. And here on this wide angle shot, we're going to show you how dark it gets here. Unfortunately, we don't have a telescope. We have our glasses, and we will be looking up, and we will have totality coming up, telescope views coming up from Arkadelphia and Burlington. Fingers crossed, clouds and all. But yes, Torreon really, really wowed me. So now I don't know how to deal with anything anymore. The light is changing. It's just really, really kind of silvery, and you can almost like touch it. It does not feel like twilight. It's like white twilight. The temperature is dropping. We were in 32 degrees Celsius here. It's now down to 25. I can feel it. It's not only goosebumps, it's also the temperature dropping. The birds are they doing anything yet? They're chirping away.
There's certainly a lot of chirping going on. I think certainly now, in the last few minutes, the light levels noticeably have really started to drop here, and that drop is going to continue over the next 6 minutes until the final minute before totality. That's when we have this sudden plunge in the light level, and that's what we're going to be sharing on our kind of Anna and I are going to sort of clear out the way of this image of the visitor center here in Llano, and we will have what have we got? We've got 4 minutes 24 seconds of totality, going to be starting at 1834 UTC.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, this really, again, reminds you that we are on this one planet, you know, in this larger system.
And you have to be on this planet to see what we're seeing.
You do.
Right now.
That's why we are Team Sun, Earth, and Moon. Because you need the moon for an eclipse. You need the sun for an eclipse. And we're standing on the Earth to see it.
Oh, man.
So, all of NASA science represented by a total solar eclipse. And something that, over 30 million of us today, at least in the path of totality. At least, yes. Able to witness this. 31 people living in the path of totality. So imagine how many people actually traveled here. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
This is getting me extra excited about all the science that
we're doing.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
All right, those clouds are playing tricks on us now.
Those clouds are being pretty mean. Yes.
It was nice to get a taste, though.
It's true.
It is so dark.
It is.
It's got everybody looking up. I'm so happy that, you know, for folks that travel, able to see this take place.
That's right.
And it's been such a great atmosphere here all day. Every time the sun comes out, everybody's
cheering, counting down. It has been incredible. And so, wow.
That's true.
Oh, Nikki, what's your favorite part about an eclipse? Is this your first?
No, this is my second one. 2017. I was in Nebraska and I saw it there. But I think there's just you can study the sun, you can study the corona, but suddenly you see it with your own eyes, and it's that feeling of just, wow, that is our star. Like it isn't just the sun anymore. That's a star, and you see it looking like a star. And you know, as we study, as we look for exoplanets in other galaxies that might be able to support life, you know, we need to understand our relationship here on this planet with that star. And so it's so important. And I think when you see it, you're just like, wow, it actually is a star. Yeah. You know, it's not just a bright point of light in the sky. You can see the structure. You can see just how exciting the sun is, and actually how dynamic it is.
Yeah. And you know, it's not often in heliophysics that we can actually see the science that we're doing with our own eyes.
That is right.
So it's a rare experience.
Or even sharing it, you know, millions of us
so
today.
many people partake.
Yep.
That's right. It's pretty windy too here.
It is windy. And so I know earlier in the show we've mentioned that total solar eclipses really might only pass through a certain location, say every 375 years.
Yeah.
Can you explain how come we don't see eclipses like this every
month?
Yeah, every month.
Because the moon's orbit is actually tilted, and so most of the time when it passes in front, it doesn't block out the light for us. At this particular time, it is right on the plane between the Earth and the Sun. It is actually at its closest point to the Earth, and so in the plane of the sky, the moon is exactly the same size as the sun, and that is very unique.
That is so special too. I mean, like, what are the odds?
It's the 400s, right? It's the distance between the Earth and the moon is 400 times closer than the Earth and the sun, and the size is 400 times smaller as well. So it just blocks it perfectly.
Yep. It does, and right now the clouds are blocking it perfectly.
Hey, but we got a taste of it, which was very nice, and we are chasing this eclipse across North America today.
We are.
So excited to
we
see
are.
from these
I
other
think it
locations
wants to come out again. I don't know. These clouds are thinning.
Yeah, the clouds.
You can hear the crowd cheering.
Getting excited.
We're hopeful.
Yeah.
Channeling all that good energy.
Yeah. This crowd has been great all day.
Oh, yes.
All day.
It's crazy to believe, too, that it was so dark and it's only like midday.
Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah.
Wow, and we're starting to get
starting to get the light back.
Yeah, starting to get the light back.
Yep. So unfortunately, we did not see the diamond ring at the end of the eclipse because of the clouds, which is always a crowd pleaser. But we did see it actually right before totality. There was suddenly this beautiful bright one light, and then it all went dark. So we did actually see quite a few great features on the sun, and somebody actually was saying they could see a sunspot. Obviously through their glasses, but they could see a sunspot. So
can you clarify what the sunspots are for our viewers?
Yes, absolutely. So if you were looking through your glasses, you might have seen a couple of dark spots on the sun. They are actually very intense places. There's very, very intense magnetic field there. They're very active, and that is what can cause space weather. So every now and again, those active regions can sort of explode and then send billions of tons of solar material towards our planet.
Wow. Well, this was fantastic. Thank you so much,
Thank
Nikki.
you,
This was
Nikki.
incredible to experience this with you.
Let's follow this eclipse right up that path. Next up is Dallas. We have Joy and Michael standing by for their big moment in the sun.
Yeah, you can feel the temperature change. The wind has completely quieted down. Yep.
So the energy here is amazing. So with me right now is Dr. Michael Kirk. He's one of our eclipse experts. Michael, we saw an annular eclipse back in October, but today is a total eclipse. How are you feeling today?
It is totally different. I am ecstatic. The annular eclipse was really cool. This is, you can feel it, the energy here is electric.
If you look around, you can see that the darkness is coming. Let's have a quick look at what we're looking at right now. We're almost there. We're a couple of minutes away.
Ooh, yep. Just a crescent left.
So let's quickly talk about some of the ways that the public are participating in the eclipse right now.
Yes.
Michael, can you talk about some of the citizen science projects?
Yes, there are people all around the country right now making measurements of audio recordings to see how the environment is changing. And it is a great opportunity to do genuine science with just an audio recorder.
Fantastic. So we are almost like, let's see, a few minutes away. So minute 30 out, I think, actually. So let's have a look at the eclipse. Michael, what should we expect to see moments before totality?
Okay, so as we approach totality, you're going to see that crescent sun slowly drift away, and then you're going to see the Bailey's beads, where there are these bright points of light that are last bits of sunlight cascading through the moon valleys, and then right before totality, you'll see a diamond ring, that last single point of light, and then we'll be in totality. We just have a thumbnail of sun left. We are closing in on totality here.
Wow, we see a slither of the sun left. Remember, you can only take your safety glasses off when the moon has completely covered the sun, and in Dallas, Texas, we are seconds away.
Oh my goodness, I can feel my heart racing. You can hear the crowd getting excited. The birds are chirping, and they seem like they're going into their nighttime routines.
Wow. So we are a few seconds away. You can hear the crowds cheering.
Here we go. Oh my goodness. This is absolutely ecstatic.
The darkness is coming over Dallas.
Here we are. Just a few seconds left.
10 seconds.
Woo! Oh, I'm so excited.
Okay, we are 5 seconds away from totality.
One little bit. It's totally dark here. Deep twilight around here.
Wow. You can hear the crowd.
Here's the last bit of lights, and we're in totality. Woo! Oh my God.
Oh my God.
That is absolutely breathtaking.
Oh my God, Michael. How are you feeling right now?
I am just awestruck. I mean, there's a few high clouds, but the beauty of the corona is clearly visible. You can see that spiky structure just poking out. It is heart-stoppingly beautiful.
Oh my goodness, I have tears in my eyes. I was not expecting this.
This is one of those experiences that you just never forget. I feel so special to be right here, right now, experiencing it, and knowing that people literally across the nation are doing the same thing it's truly amazing.
Wow, let's take a moment to take it all in. This is absolutely breathtaking.
Wow. You can see that spiky structure of the corona. That's indicative of our approach to solar maximum. That asymmetrical nature of the corona happens when we're in solar maximum, and that's going to be happening in about a few months from now. So that means that this view of the corona will never happen again, ever. This is a completely unique view that even if you see a million solar eclipses, you'll never quite see one like this.
So, Michael, you study the sun. What is it like to see the corona that you don't normally see?
I mean, I just, there are no words. I spend my life studying this thing, and to be able to see it and feel it is, I mean, it's just tremendous. You can see a prominence in the chromosphere, the middle atmosphere of the sun is a pink spot. And that pink loop is what I spent 5 years doing a dissertation on. that one little pink loop. And it's just, it makes it all feel like it's in perspective now.
I can't believe how clearly I can see those pink loops. and the structures in the corona.
We can see a few planets out as well. They're brightly shining in the sky, and actually there's a plane racing across the shadow as we speak as well.
And I just want to take a moment to say huge thanks to our telescope operator, Vanessa Thomas, for providing these views. This is just so stunning.
People are applauding here, as you can hear. I mean, I think everyone here is getting exactly what they came for, which is just that sense of your place in the universe. This is our closest star, and being able to see the star like this is truly special.
Okay, we have 1 minute left of totality.
Oh, the time just passes way too quickly.
The next eclipse won't happen across the US for another 20 years, so this really is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for a lot of people.
Absolutely. Our friends up in Alaska will see their next eclipse in 2033, so I am like already thinking I need to go there. I mean, it's just
Yes,
it doesn't matter what I need to do. I just have to go there.
Wow. So we're 30 seconds out.
Oh, my
so
goodness.
right before totality ends, our telescope operator, Vanessa, is going to put the solar filter back on. But let's just cherish these last few moments of totality in Dallas, Texas. Michael, what will happen right before totality ends?
So as totality's ending, we'll go through the process in reverse. You'll see maybe a diamond ring, a few Bailey's beads as the sun creeps out of totality. And then we're going to go back into a crescent sun again. Okay, and there's a diamond ring again. So time to put your glasses back on. And
Sunglasses back, eclipse glasses back on.
And it's coming back again.
Wow, the slither of the sun.
And you can see shadow bands on the ground right now. It looks like it's almost raining, or you can see those shadow bands racing across the ground as we come back in out of totality.
Wow. Whew. Oh my goodness, Michael, that was amazing. I was not expecting to feel so emotional. I still have tears in my eyes.
It just grabs you. I mean, it is unlike anything else. It's as amazing as seeing anything in the natural universe. Like I said, there are no words.
Michael, thank you so much for being with us in this very, very, very special moment.
I feel honored to be here. We truly are in a special place in the entire universe right here, and I'm just so happy to share it with you.
So now let's head back to James at NASA's Kennedy Space Center, who's with the eclipse moon. He's tracking the shadow moving across the US. James, how are things looking on your end?
Yeah, wow, Joy and Michael, really cool view there. It's insane to see just how dark it gets. It's literally like nighttime there. You can hear
live for all the latest photos and updates and comments about the eclipse. And Anna's going to have a little lie down, and we are going to be back after totality in Arkadelphia.
You can see just how quickly it's moving. I'm playing this in real time. You can see that shadow. It's already moving very quickly to the northeast. And the fun isn't just for our friends on the path of totality, and there are a lot of people on that path of totality. About 31 million people reside somewhere on that path of totality. But there's a lot of people obviously outside of that path as well too. If I put on this overlay here for the percent coverage, a lot of folks, us included here in Florida, are experiencing that partial eclipse. As always, if you are in a partial eclipse, be sure to be wearing those eclipse glasses to protect your eyesight as you're viewing it. But you can see these bands here are greater than 75% view. So say you're watching up in, I don't know, Milwaukee here, for example. You've got a great view, almost 100% coverage. You're not quite at totality. 89.4%. Looks like you got good cloud cover there. 20% cloud cover. So hopefully you got a nice view up there as well, too. I've also put on this overlay here to show you just the amount of the duration of totality. You see a lot of our places are within this middle band right here that are getting more than 4 minutes. It may seem like a lot of time, but as you've seen just how quickly that can go by. Michael sounds like he wrote his whole dissertation, a 5-year piece, on those just few moments there. This just passes so quickly, and again, if you miss this, the next time you're gonna have to wait for this in the US is not gonna be until 2045. So again, make sure you're previewing exactly when to expect that peak time of coverage wherever you are in our path of totality or even outside of that path of totality. So a lot coming up very soon. Again, our friends in Russellville look like they have great coverage there as well too. Only 9% cloud cover, so hopefully they're getting a really nice view. But let's check in with Jasmine up there to see. Hopefully you're looking good for there. How's it looking up in your way up in Russellville?
I'm just looking this way.
Everything is looking absolutely fabulous here in Russellville. We could not have asked for...
Faster and faster. It seems like it's accelerating. The crowd is definitely getting excited. I'm looking around the ground to see if I see the shadow snakes. I don't, but this is just really exciting.
It really is. Honestly, like you said, we're feeling that cooler weather.
Yeah.
The crowd behind us just erupted. We're also feeling them fall a little bit quieter too.
Right.
So we're going to take a beat of silence as we get into totality. I think we're less than about 15 seconds away. So we're going to also look over our shoulder with our solar eclipse glasses still on until we are in totality. Here we go. Just a sliver of the sun left.
Getting close. Crowd's getting excited.
The crowd, yeah, all around us, completely electric.
Going. Wow.
Oh my goodness. Here we are.
Here we go.
And the crowd goes wild.
God. Oh my God.
Wow.
We got some Bailey's beads. Oh,
absolutely stunning.
That is spectacular. We see Venus over to the side there.
And Patrick, it came and went so quickly, but we did see a diamond ring at the very beginning there. Can you describe to us what is that?
Sure, that diamond ring effect is due to the moon not being perfectly smooth. It's got mountains, it's got valleys. So just like here on Earth, when we see a sunrise or a sunset through a valley, we just watched a sunset through a valley on the moon.
Absolutely.
There's even just a hint of a diamond ring down at the bottom.
I can see it. Yeah, we're looking at a diamond ring from Arkansas, the Diamond State. Now, Patrick, of course, as we've been talking about it, this is part of what we are calling the heliophysics big year. You are a heliophysics extraordinaire all the way from Washington, D.C. So what does that mean?
Okay, so the heliophysics big year started out in October of last year with the annular eclipse. And of course, we take a pause here in the middle to watch this particular eclipse, but then it will end on December 24th of 2024 when Parker Solar Probe passes as close as it's ever going to get to the surface of the sun within 9 solar radii.
Oh, wow. And I'm sure that means a lot to you because you worked on Parker Solar Probe about 20 years ago during its inception. So tell us a little bit more about that.
I worked on a concept study for Parker Solar Probe back when I was a graduate student in around 2002 or so. And back then, the idea was for it to actually dive into the sun rather than orbit the sun. So it was going to be a sun dive.
Wow, that is fabulous. This must be a very full circle moment for you, right, Patrick?
This is brilliant. This is absolutely brilliant. And that diamond ring has been Wait a minute. That's pink. What we are actually seeing is down into the chromosphere now of the sun. We're seeing a little bit deeper than the corona. I believe it's because of the pinkish color. We're looking down into the chromosphere, which is the next layer of the atmosphere of the sun down.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Oh my God.
This is like nothing we have ever seen here in Arkansas, and like nothing we will see for the next 2 decades, right, Patrick?
That's right. It's going to be 21 years before we see it again here. 2045.
All right, so as we are starting to exit Totality, of course, we're going to be very careful with our eyes if needed. We're going to put those solar glasses back on, of course. And the crowd just erupting, falling quiet again as they watch this magnificent moment take place.
I am actually seeing bats flitting through the air.
Oh, wow. Well, we will be very careful then.
Well, yeah.
And why is that, Patrick? Again, those nocturnal animals are coming out, right?
As far as they're concerned, it's nighttime. It's time to feed. So they're coming out to feed on all the mosquitoes we've been swatting.
Okay, got it. We'll be very careful for all those nocturnal critters around us right now.
All right. We are getting closer. Get ready to put those glasses back on.
All right. We're putting those glasses back on. The crowd is, wow, a second diamond ring seen from right here in Arkansas, the Diamond State. Absolutely stunning.
Outstanding.
Beautiful. Patrick, we're going to turn around now and just one question I really do have to ask you before we let you go is, are you Team Sun, Moon, or Earth?
I am Team Sun. Team Sun all day long.
Fantastic. I figured from a heliophysics expert like you. We want to thank the city of Russellville for hosting us, Arkansas Tech University, and our telescope feed operator, Joe Mattis. Thank you so much. Now, let's get back to James Traley over at Kennedy Space Center. James, back to you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Jasmine. What have you guys had there? So you were just right here in Russellville. You can see that shadow has now officially moved off and is on our way to our next target, which is up here in Carbondale. Carbondale is one of those very lucky cities because back in 2017, they were right at that intersection point of the 2017 eclipse across America. They're there again this year, but the difference is they're going to have a much longer slot. In 2017, they only had 2 minutes, 40 seconds, and that's not as much as they're going to have this year, which is 4 minutes and 10 seconds in the totally eclipsed sun. A really great viewing window for them to really take in this big moment. Very exciting to be able to track that for them as well. And also some details about this tool here as well. If I click onto their eclipse time here of 1:59:15 local time, you notice this little icon comes up here. This is actually simulated based off real data from the Parker Solar Probe of what we expect the corona around the sun to look like. And as you just heard, the sun's a lot more active this time around. It's kind of like a wild hairball, if you will. Lots of different streamers and things streaking off the sun. So you've been seeing already in our coverage some really cool activity around that sun's corona. If you're really lucky and the timing is just right, you might get a coronal mass ejection streaking off the sun. Hoping that someone on our path gets to see that today. If you do, be sure to send us the photos. We love to see that as well. One other cool feature about this tool too is you can see the actual path that the moon is going to be taking across the sun. And all of this plays in real time if you time it up well. And so you can actually see, if I go to our live moment here, this is actually playing as what we're expecting in real time, the movement of the moon across the sun. Carbondale just had a little crescent there, and you can see that shadow is really closing in on them very quickly. Let me turn off that 2017 path and zoom in a bit here. You see there, nearing totality in just a few moments, and their weather is looking great. We've been checking in with them all morning and afternoon. 27% cloud cover. That time of totality is coming up at 1:59:15. Really excited. And then it's going to be kind of bang bang for a while afterwards for a lot of our sites. We're going to be moving on to Indianapolis, all the way up to our final target in Holton, Maine. There is a lot coming up. And even again, still, if you're outside of that path of totality, have your glasses at the ready to be able to observe that partial eclipse. This is going to be going on for a while. But for now, let's take a look at Carbondale and see up close what it's looking like. How is it looking over there in Carbondale?
Couple more minutes.
Well, the crowds are going nuts here in Carbondale at SIU at Saluki Stadium. Bob Baer is with us, and Bob, it's amazing. I'm afraid to look up. I know it's not quite ready yet, but tell us, what do you expect here for the eclipse today? Good weather.
It's good weather right now. We have high clouds, so totality is going to look just a little bit fuzzy to us, a little bit hazy, but we are moments away from seeing the diamond ring here. This is awesome.
Oh, I thought we saw it.
I think we got about 1 minute.
Okay, 1 minute away. Now, today we're having longer totality. So are you feeling the temperature change? Because I'm already feeling the temperature drop.
I felt the temperature dropping about 20 minutes ago even, and the wind picking up a little bit. And I think, we got 4 minutes and 9 seconds here, so it'll continue to get cooler. And we got a lot to look at in the sky.
I'm very excited. I'm looking up when I can.
Oh, it's so close.
It's getting very dark right now. See the very dark. You can see the shadow going across.
This is the start of it. It's dark over here. It's light over there.
This is amazing. Crowds are going nuts. We're about to get word that we're at Totality. Oh, you can see the planets. The crowds are going nuts. This is crazy. Bob, this is amazing.
Here we go.
Don't look at the sun yet. It's not quite totality, but you can still see some of the planets right away.
Very close. You got about 15
And the crowd
seconds.
is very happy.
Shadow bands.
Oh, total darkness here. This is incredible. Oh, wow.
There it is. Diamond ring.
Diamond ring. Wow, that's amazing. It's amazing. That is awesome. Look at that. Oh, and Bob, that's amazing.
Wow. Jupiter.
Complete totality. I see Jupiter.
Oh my gosh, that is gorgeous.
Wow, this is amazing, Bob.
Wow, that is huge. So we have some prominences. I think we want to go look through the scope.
Go through, look through the scope. I'm going to walk over with you as you talk through the scope. We are right here at one of the telescopes that we have positioned here. Bob is looking through with the naked eye and going to give us some feedback on that. Maybe some prominences we're seeing. What's amazing is how dark it is compared to 2017. Much darker, a lot more astronomical features. We have seen Jupiter, and I believe, what planet? What planet is that, Bob?
That's Venus
to the right. That's the Venus.
Can't quite see Mercury. I think it's obscured by those light clouds.
Yeah,
up
light
there.
clouds.
But 360-degree sunset around us.
This is amazing.
It's going to get darker.
It's going to get darker.
It's going to get darker.
Wow,
Yeah,
this is already pretty dark.
We are not in the middle of the shadow quite yet.
Wow.
Did you see it?
Yeah, timer started.
Okay, 2:46 to go. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we're getting some live data from the team here. I tell you, it's really impressive, Bob, because...
Oh, my gosh, it's getting better. See that prominence at the bottom
Yes, at the
of it?
bottom, there's a prominence. I see it.
Wow. I keep looking
I
for
can't believe the
Mercury, so
clarity. It's so much darker than 2017.
It's gorgeous. And what's awesome, we have 6 telescopes running back here,
That's awesome.
capturing data, streaming this.
And that's a big important part here. This is not just capturing image to share with people watching the show. You are actually capturing scientific data that can be used by scientists everywhere.
We are, and we've seen totality across North America so far in Mazatlan. Now we're experiencing it ourselves, and we'll experience it after this on the Jumbotron from the other dev sites.
It's like the most amazing eclipse train you could ever ride on.
Wow. This is a bit better than 2017.
Without a doubt, without a doubt.
No cloud.
And you know what's interesting is the crowd is quieting down. They seem to be experiencing the moment, taking it all in. A really special moment here.
Look at that. So we must be getting close to the center. Where are we at? 2 minutes? So 1 minute, 30 seconds. The corona's looking brighter because our eyes are adjusting now.
I mean, that is amazing, Bob. And how much corona you see. I mean, like just last time I didn't see that much.
Visually, oh, there goes a bat. See the bat flying over the crowd.
Oh yeah, we talked about the animals. Now we see them becoming active.
We found a luna moth earlier as well. But that corona is about 4 times the diameter of the sun. That is massive.
That is amazing, Bob. And I'm really curious
20
about
minutes?
that prominence at the bottom.
Have you looked yet, Blair? You have to look.
I haven't looked.
So take a look. So Blair's looking through the scope now.
Oh my goodness!
At Totality.
No, that one right at the bottom is significant, Bob. It looks like a coronal mass ejection, but don't fact check me on that because I'm just a novice. But there's actually two on the Bob. You got to look at that. Yeah. There's two. Look at the
30 seconds. William.
30 seconds left in totality. Jump in there. Take a look. It's great because we have telescopes out here for people to look at and actually see total eclipse through it.
Corona.
And
we're getting close.
I don't know what you guys are seeing on television, but
10 seconds. We got to cut it off.
Okay, all right, here we go. 10 seconds before we need to put our glasses back on.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
You're good. You're good. We put the cap back on the telescope to make sure nobody looks.
What an amazing event, Bob. There's the diamond ring. There's the second one. Oh, snap. Oh, that's amazing. It's like it was scheduled.
Yeah, somebody had the timing right here.
Oh my God,
gosh.
it's amazing.
We will see shadow bands again here.
You hear the crowd. Everybody's excited. There we go. What an amazing moment here at Saluki Stadium.
Oh my gosh.
With Bob Baer and 10,000 fans, all loving every moment of it. Bob, some final words.
Well, I think we just had an eagle fly over.
Okay, so,
but incredible.
Well, that's one of those things you said. We saw animal reaction, we heard it, we felt it.
It was wonderful. So we got to keep an eye out for shadow bands. We're going to see them again in about 1 minute on the ground here.
Okay, so we'll keep looking for those shadow bands on the ground, but I got to tell you guys back at the studio, I know you guys have seen eclipses already. There's still some to come, but what an amazing moment. Back to you guys. Good weather all the way to the end.
Thank you, Blair. We are in Indianapolis. We are almost at totality. With me, I have Nikki Rail, the Associate Director for Flight Programs for the Heliophysics Division, and Denise Hill, NASA's Outreach and Communications Lead for the NASA Heliophysics Division. You guys, let's get our glasses on. And you can hear the crowds start to roar as everyone gets on their glasses. We are so, so close. Ladies, what are we seeing right now?
I mean, just the ambiance of this moment. It is beautiful. We're just seeing a really small crescent, but the light all around us, it's so dusky.
With that, we also got some beautiful images there of the solar corona as seen through the telescopes from Arkadelphia as well.
And it was that even round corona that you were mentioning.
That's right. Yes, because we are near the solar max, as it's known, the kind of the peak period of solar activity. That's when we generally have a more symmetrical solar corona. And yes, we did see that in our pictures there. We should say, actually, on that subject, we are continuing to get questions and comments on YouTube, and we did have a follow-up question to our discussion about sunspots and solar activity. Yeah, a lot of people asking about exactly when is solar maximum going to be? When do we actually reach the peak of this 11-year cycle of solar activity? And the short answer is we don't know for sure. The sun is always a bit unpredictable. We are expecting it around July next year. Is estimated to be the peak, but we don't know for sure at this stage. But yes, we saw a lovely solar corona. We saw some fabulous prominences around the edge of the sun. And Anna, kind of from the view looking up from the ground, what else were the highlights, from the ground?
Well, I'm still trying to calm down from that experience. But I'm doing better at it. You see Graham taking over and taking care of me here. All that talk about clouds and to see the moon and the sun meet in the sky is just completely overwhelming. We did talk about the birds flying around. We talked about dogs barking, people cheering across the river, super excited. all those things, but also just the temperature. It dropped 10 degrees Celsius. I can really feel it warming up again now. Like I might need to take my jumper off at some point, but it went from 32 degrees Celsius down to 22 degrees Celsius in that time, and now it's warming up again. I had a little lie down on the ground. I looked up, I saw Venus, I saw Jupiter, and the corona, the round, beautiful corona. It was all as you see it here on the telescope, but just a bit more context in it. So it was just beautiful.
Yeah, wow, great stuff. Checking in on our eclipse map there. We can see the moon's shadow continuing to speed across the United States. The next marker we have on our map there, that's up in Burlington, Vermont. That's where we have Stefan on the ground there in Burlington. He's been getting fantastic help and support from the organizers there in Burlington, at the moment looking good. That lovely clear image of the eclipse happening there. Totality in Burlington, well, we have that also on our timeline there on the left-hand side of the screen. That's coming up at 1926.
So just under half an hour.
So that's right. Yeah, well, it's more like quarter of an hour.
True.
Yes.
True.
And we'll have a little over 3 minutes of totality in Burlington. Looking back at our eclipse map, the numbers there are beneath the map. The numbers on the right are showing the speed of the moon's shadow, and we can see that as it now gets towards the end of the path of totality, the speed of the moon's shadow is slowly rising. And just as we look at those numbers, we can see them slowly ticking upwards. This is because the moon's shadow is moving across the globe, and as it gets towards the edge of the globe, the Earth is curving away from the shadow. So when we see the shadow on the map here moving across the surface, its speed is increasing on the map because it's actually kind of skimming off the edge of the globe as the Earth kind of curves away from it. So we'll see that speed continue to tick up towards the end of this eclipse. So
even though Stefan is close to the center line there up in Burlington, Vermont, he's up at the Science Museum there. His totality won't be 4 minutes and 24 seconds like here.
That's right. That's one of the things that affects the length of totality at different locations. One of the factors is how close you are to the center of the path, and that was really the big difference between Llano and Arkadelphia in terms of our difference there. We had about a 2-minute difference in the length of totality. We were pretty much in the same part of the country. The difference there was that, Llano very close to the center of the path, and Arkadelphia was much nearer the edge. Burlington and up in the northeast corner, totality times are coming down because, the moon's shadow is moving across the map more quickly. Exactly right. Yes. So that is the next highlight coming up, totality in Burlington at 1926. Stay with us on timeanddate.live. Don't forget to check out our amazing blog where Aparna is posting fabulous images and reactions from people across North America, and Anna and I will be back here very soon.
Look at some of those. Wow, Oh my gosh, so this
So
is
cool.
Times Square. That's the NASDAQ Tower, and they are taking our feed live right now, and we're seeing
awesome.
Cleveland, Ohio sun.
They're only going to get a partial eclipse today, but they get to watch our eclipse with us. So.
Yeah, I'm really glad that they can do that. Wow, look, that sliver of a crescent just left. It's actually perfect on that building.
It's beautiful.
The shape of that building, right? And we can see some people in the foreground taking a look, stopping to watch. It's hard to stop in Times Square, right? But they're stopping to take a look at this with us.
Beautiful.
Oh, awesome. So this is just next to us. This is Progressive Field here in Cleveland, Ohio. So the Guardians have their opening day today, and the first pitch is like after 5 o'clock. But as you can see, they've opened up the stadium, and people are in there to enjoy
big
the
crowd in
eclipse.
there to watch that. That's great.
Yeah, you can, oh my gosh,
Oh
it just got darker here.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's so interesting. And then Mentor Civic Amphitheater, again, the field starting to fill, and everybody looking up at the sky for their opportunity to see today's solar eclipse. This is us back here in Cleveland. Everybody looking up at the sky. We have 30 seconds until totality here in Cleveland, Ohio.
A solar eclipse happens when the moon's shadow falls somewhere on the surface of Earth, and a lunar eclipse is the opposite, when the Earth's shadow falls on the moon. The two sections of the shadow, the dark umbra and the partially shaded penumbra, their placement determines which type of eclipse we can see from Earth. But not all eclipses are made equal. The most spectacular, the one for your bucket list, is a total eclipse of the sun.
And totality. Totality, everyone.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God.
I was so nervous.
Wow. I know, I wasn't sure because we had some high clouds, but oh my goodness, you can see that corona extending out. Oh, wow.
Yeah, the clouds were really bothering me and really scaring me. You get very cloudy here in the last hour and a half, but we have a great view here in Cleveland, Ohio.
Yes.
Wow, look at the corona.
You can hear the crowd. Wow, everybody's got their phones out.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. You know, I saw pictures of what the shape of the corona might look like from our NASA scientists, and it looks exactly like they predicted.
Oh my gosh. Oh, and you can see Jupiter and Venus.
Oh yeah, look at that.
So Jupiter's to the upper left of the eclipse that we're watching, and just to the right of it is Venus.
Yes. Oh, and I see some of those pink protuberances we've been talking about all day.
Wow.
Beautiful.
And again, all around us you see light, but just at the top where we are.
360 sunsets.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Yes, Indianapolis had described that as well.
Woo!
We have totality here for 3 minutes and 50 seconds.
That is such a luxurious amount of time. I saw the 2017, I think we only had about 2 minutes. So.
And why is that? Why does the length of totality differ?
Oh yeah, well, because sometimes the moon is a little closer, a little further away. Its orbit's elliptical, and so when it's further away, it looks smaller in the sky, but when it's closer, it looks bigger, and so we get a little bit more extra time.
Look at the prominence. You can see it on the bottom. On the bottom there.
So pretty.
Wow.
It's like bright pink.
That is insane that you can see it from there. From here.
Yes.
Just like the power of our sun. I'm truly in awe right now. And cold. I'm in awe and cold.
It did drop.
It is
dropped
noticeably
probably 10
colder.
degrees. It's like, yes.
Yes. Looking around to the crowd. A lot of people videotaping it, trying to take photos.
It's the lovely backdrop of the Cleveland skyline.
Yeah, that's beautiful. We have the stadium right next to us. Oh my gosh. And again, thanking the Great Lakes Science Center and NASA for hosting this event here in downtown Cleveland, Ohio.
It's great to sort of join humanity to all come together at once and experience this together with such a great
Oh,
group
look at the
of
screen
folks.
right now. Here's a shot of the skyline.
Oh,
wow, the
wow.
sky looks on fire. Beautiful. A lot of excitement still here in the crowd. Sarah's just taking it all in. Sarah, you're supposed to be commentating. You're supposed to be saying.
It's so beautiful.
So you can tell that we have some cloud cover, right? It's kind of hazy here, but still.
It is, yeah, some high clouds. I was worried about it, but we can still really have a pretty good view here.
Wow. And again, this is so rare for people here in Cleveland to see a total solar eclipse. The last time was 1806. The next time, guys, 2444. That is incredible.
I hope everybody took the time to come outside and witness this today.
Oh my gosh. You can still see that prominence. Again, talk to us about what a prominence is.
Yeah, so that pink color comes from the helium in the sort of outer atmosphere of the sun there. Oh, it's beautiful.
And it gives off that pink glow.
Yeah.
Wow. Totality ending here. Wow, there's the diamond ring. Oh!
Time to get your glasses back out.
Time to put your glasses back on, everyone. That's your cue. Glasses back on.
We get that diamond ring.
Wow.
Beautiful.
What an amazing experience. My first total solar eclipse.
Yes.
Let's see what they think about this in Niagara with Daryl Nail.
Over the entire area. You can hear the crowd erupting at various moments when the eclipse has been seen, but we are under pretty cloudy conditions, and David Sheeny is with us. He's a program executive with the Heliophysics Division. David, this is a challenging situation to be in order to try to see this eclipse. We've seen glimpses.
We have seen glimpses, so we're basically spending our time staring at the sky, hoping for a little bit of a glimpse of what would be a totality. So right now, the sky has just completely gone dark. You see all the lights, basically, everybody's cameras and everything else are all making it lighter. And it's gotten significantly colder as well, just over the last several minutes.
And it's like, it's fascinating to see it go night like this. We've been listening to everybody across the country enjoying totality and seeing it clear. That's not the experience we're having here. In fact, it's so cloudy that our telescope operator, Jessica Bellina, who's working very hard to try to get a lock on it, has not been able to get that telescope feed dialed in because she has to have a view of the sun in order to see it. So we don't have a feed for you from Niagara. What we have is just every once in a while you'll hear part of the crowd, only part of the crowd will cheer because I guess they kind of have an angle through the clouds to see just a little bit.
Yeah, and the clouds have really only cleared out enough occasionally to even need eclipse glasses. So for the most part, you have a thick enough layer of clouds that you can see the eclipse without them, and it's just fine. So a lot of us have been able to just take regular pictures with our cameras.
Let's take a look and just kind of enjoy the moment of darkness that we're in now. People have come from all over the world to be here.
You can see some. It looks like it's a little bit lighter up there. Our spotlights are blinding these guys. Can we turn the spotlights down? So there, oh look, you got a little bit of eclipse right there with people watching. So we're just catching little glimpses of things as we look up into the sky. So this might not be as exciting as some, but this is what we get. We're just hoping to have a little bit of a glimpse.
Well, we've got 3 minutes and 29 seconds for it to happen. We're already a minute or so in.
Right.
We heard there's going to be skydivers that are going to jump out. Probably hard to see them.
Yeah, I don't know that we'll ever get to see the skydivers. You can't see any of Niagara Falls really. It's basically all like as if it was night for us here. You can start to see some of the light come in from the other side.
So we're taking now a view of Tupper Lake, New York. That's
oh look, there you go.
Hey,
there goes totality right there. We're getting totality right now that we can see.
There it is.
We just got a really nice clear spot right there. So
wow,
got a little bit of hole through the clouds so everybody could see.
Just opened up, and now that was the roar from the crowd that you just heard, and just as soon as it showed.
So yeah, we're continuing to watch the totality that we're getting right now. You can see a little bit of hint on the side as it's shining through.
Well, there it ducked down.
Yep.
Jessica,
so here we go. We have another view, a little bit, another little view right here.
No.
As it's starting to peek out around.
Oh, there it is.
So we're getting starting to peek out just around right there. Yep.
Well, totality is complete.
Yeah. Well, that was a fun experience to watch and hope for, like just everybody else around here, hoping for a view. And we got it.
That was a unique experience. Bring the lights up. And suddenly night is turning into light and day.
Yeah, we're getting some light again. Oh, although that's a lot of light.
I was worried there for a second that we weren't going to get anything. David Cheney, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate you sharing this experience. I was really worried that we were going to see something. Fortunately for everybody here in Niagara Falls, we got to see a little bit of the eclipse. And
yes, we did.
That
was
great. Some of the cheering now. Thank you very much.
All right, you're welcome.
As we take a look around the falls, and people have not moved. They are still looking up, enjoying the partial eclipse now. We're going to bring in Jeremy Hansen. He is a Canadian Space Agency astronaut who has been at the falls with us for the past few days. And Jeremy, you're going to be on Artemis 2, of course, the mission. We'll talk a little bit about that.
I'm going to be looking over your shoulder here, Daryl.
Hey, make sure you put on your glasses.
We're still pretty safe. We got a lot of cloud cover, but
that's true.
That was actually, I think, exceeded expectations.
Well, I mean, when your expectations start off with just clouds everywhere.
Yeah.
And I didn't think we were going to get anything. How did you feel when it finally poked through?
I felt like success because we all really wanted to see it in totality, and we might have only saw it for 5 seconds, but we did get to see it, and we could see the corona, and that was just very special for me. So I really like that. And then when it passed totality, it was like this amazing, hopefully the camera captured it, but just like that amazing sunrise just coming across the clouds. Actually, the clouds kind of made a nice backdrop for it, so that was pretty special.
That was very unique, very special. I'm so glad and a little relieved that we got to see a little bit of it. That was the moon passing in front of the sun. You're going around the moon in September of 2025, currently scheduled for that. You'll be the first Canadian to do so. You just saw a real special moment. That's another one. What are your thoughts on getting ready to take that big trip?
You can imagine I have a lot of thoughts about Artemis 2 and what Reed, Christina, Victor, and I are getting ready to undertake. But if I have to boil it down, a lot of it comes down to pride. I'm really proud of humanity for taking on these big challenges. I'm really proud of the United States for their leadership, for creating this opportunity where other countries can express our genius, bring real contributions to the program. And now Canada is going to be the second country in the world to send a human into deep space. And it's got nothing to do with me. It has to do with the genius that the world is sharing. I just love that.
That's amazing. Want to mention real quick, we are in full totality up at Tupper Lake, New York, not far from here in northeastern New York. We're here in western New York where light is continuing to shine and get a little bit brighter. It really is special, and we really felt that in the 4 days that you were here interacting with the public. Was that your sense?
There's a lot of excitement around this celestial event that's happening and around space exploration in general, which I find really uplifting. I don't think space exploration solves all the problems or challenges of the world, but I do believe it is one of the pillars of those solutions. It doesn't matter what problem you're looking at, space plays a role. And I love it when I see our youth getting fired up about, asking me, how do I work at NASA? How do I work at the Canadian Space Agency? We're on the US side here, but I've had some Canadians come up to me. It's just something that brings us together.
40 سنة وفهم تنسجم مع أسلوب حياتي لتبقى.
The moon orbits Earth every 29.5 days, but we don't get eclipses every month. That's because the moon's orbit isn't in line with Earth's orbit. It's tilted about 5 degrees. That doesn't seem like much, but keep in mind that the scale of the model we're showing to you is way off. If the Earth and moon are this size, the distance between them should be around 10 feet. At this distance, 5 degrees is enough to keep the moon's shadow off of Earth and the Earth's shadow off the moon most months. So why do we ever get eclipses? Because there are 2 points where the moon's orbit crosses the sun's plane, called nodes. And as the Earth moves along its annual orbit, those points line up with the sun about twice a year. As the moon passes between the sun and Earth at that time, we get a solar eclipse. And when it's behind Earth at that time, we get a lunar eclipse. There are a ton of orbital quirks that make predicting eclipses really complicated, but in general, we'll have a few solar and a few lunar eclipses of some sort every year. But you're more likely to see a total lunar eclipse in your lifetime than a total solar one. The totality of a lunar eclipse can last well over an hour, and it's viewable for anyone on the night side of Earth. The moon often turns red during a total lunar eclipse because our planet's atmosphere scatters the bluer wavelengths of light while the longer, redder wavelengths pass through. Or to put it another way, a total lunar eclipse projects all of the world's sunsets and sunrises onto the moon. Total solar eclipses seem much more rare because totality lasts just a few minutes, and although Earth gets a total solar eclipse every 18 months on average, each one is only viewable by less than 0.5% of Earth's surface. Eclipse chasers travel all over the world to put themselves in the path of that shadow. In a total solar eclipse, the moon precisely covers the sun from the vantage point of some place on Earth. This is possible because, by coincidence, the sun and the moon appear to be about the same size in our sky. While the sun is 400 times bigger than the moon, it's also about 400 times farther away. But this alignment isn't constant. The moon has an elliptical orbit. Its size varies about 12% throughout the month. When it's closer to us, we can get total solar eclipses, but less than 30% of solar eclipses are total. More often, we get partial eclipses, where the alignment is a bit off, or annular eclipses, where the moon is too far away to fully block the sun.
Also able to see the shadow of the moon passing over Earth, which is absolutely incredible. I mean, I can hardly imagine a view being better than the one we have right now, but if there is one, it's
probably on the space station.
It's from the space station for sure. Wow. So yes, they're able to take some pictures of that, and that is just incredible. Just incredible.
One of the things they told people to do if you're far away was to hear how nature changed. And it was interesting here, we're of course surrounded by a lot of people, just to hear their reaction when we went into totality.
It's true that humans and nature have not gotten quieter, but louder, I would say. But, I mean, you can definitely hear the loudness has a different kind of character to it. There's almost like a, I mean, I don't know if wonder has a sound, but I think this might be it,
Hushed awe.
Yes, hushed awe. That's wonderful. And I can see just one little red, I guess, like protrusion coming down there.
Red spots almost. I noticed those too.
That's cool. Now there are two.
Yeah.
Wow. That is just so cool.
Yeah, I like the 360 sunset. It's a little hard to see behind us, but it's...
oh, we've got at least one or two drones.
Yeah, some... our robot overlords.
Of course. And so, Eric, I know that, I mean, clearly with the drones, people are starting to get involved in the eclipse, and I know that there are lots of ways that people can actually get involved. One of those ways is with citizen science.
Right.
Do you mind talking about some of those opportunities, how people can actually...
Sure. We had citizen science programs where people could use their cell phones to take pictures during the eclipse. And
we're getting ready to come out of totality.
And here we go. But that's good. Oh, there it is. Oh, it's peeking out.
Everybody is cheering. We have just made it to the end of totality. We're starting to see the sun just peeking back out again.
Now just look at the ground, how much brighter it's gotten.
It is already so much brighter. That is so wild. That was probably one of the most amazing, but also fastest 3 minutes of my life.
Yeah.
I wish I could do it all again.
Yeah.
All right, well, that was incredible. Incredible to get to experience that here in Holton. Thanks so much to the city of Holton, and also thank you so much, Dr. Smith, for coming out and hanging out with us and experiencing this wonderful event.
Oh, it was my pleasure, and congratulations to the city of Holton here for doing such an amazing job covering the eclipse. It was amazing how well orchestrated it was.
Above and beyond, giving us these incredible images from the telescope feed, and we're gonna enjoy as the rest of the eclipse kind of ends here, going back in the direction that it came. And with that, we're going to send it back over to you, Megan. All righty. Thanks, Angelique. So, Gina, I mean, what do you think? Like, we literally have just watched the eclipse travel, what, about 2,600 miles?
It's going across
Mexico to Maine.
Yes.
In like, what, about 88 minutes?
That's right. It's
so
like
fast.
that 1,900 miles per hour that the shadow's traveling.
I mean, did you have a favorite location?
For me, I think between Russellville and Dallas, just getting to hear some of my colleagues and their excitement too, it was amazing.
Oh my goodness, yeah, no. So, I don't know, I have to be a little bit biased. We did have some cloud cover here,
we did.
But to see it with your real eyes was just...
And we had that moment, which was
We
important,
did, yes. It was amazing. And so it's really cool too, just to think about how millions of us now have this shared moment of what could be a once-in-a-lifetime event.
It's true.
And so, folks, we have time for some more questions from our viewers. And again, we have another great question from Mackenzie, who's in the 3rd grade.
Okay.
Let's roll it now.
Hi, my name is Mackenzie. I am in 3rd grade. My question is, what is the difference between a lunar eclipse and a solar eclipse?
Thank you for that question, Mackenzie. Okay, let's talk about the difference between the eclipses. Now, the solar eclipse that we had today is when the moon crosses between the Earth and the sun. But we also get lunar eclipses, and a lunar eclipse occurs when the Earth crosses between the moon and the sun. So it's really about where the shadow's going. Today, we have the moon shadow projecting on the Earth. During a lunar eclipse, we have the Earth shadow projecting onto the moon. So that's the main difference there.
That we just saw, too, those incredible views from space,
That's
you
right,
know,
from
to
the
see
space
that
station.
second perspective view. And so I've got another question for you right now. It's going to be Eli on Reddit, who wants to know, there are quite a few solar eclipses in the world every few years, so why is this one scientifically interesting?
Okay, so yeah, we do get solar eclipses and lunar eclipses maybe 2 to 3 times a year. However, the total eclipse that happens today, total eclipses are about every 1.5 years. And that is a rare opportunity for us to look at the corona, study the corona in a way that we can't do during the other types of solar eclipses that we have. So
and during the solar maximum.
Exactly, during the solar maximum. So for this one particular, you know, we were talking about the solar activity that we were seeing on the limbs during the totality. Yeah, there's just a bunch going on today for this eclipse.
And so too, right now, we've got another incredible view.
Oh, look at that.
These are live views from space, which is just mind-blowing in general. And now we're also to see the moon shadow across the Earth.
Wow.
It is just amazing. So, you know, Gina, too, thinking about how many people across North America today witnessed this one moment, it's a good reminder that humanity has been experiencing these eclipses for centuries. And, you know, there are different meanings for these events in different cultures. Let's check in with Joy in Dallas to learn more about Indigenous astronomy. Joy.
Hi, and welcome back to Dallas, Texas. I'm with Dr. David Begay. He's an Indigenous astronomer and also a member of the Navajo Nation. David, thank you so much for joining us. So when people think about science, they might be thinking of Western science. So, David, how does that relate to Indigenous science, and what did the total eclipse mean to the Navajo people?
I think the knowledge on the eclipse goes way back.
from time immemorial, I'm told by my elders. And they knew that when you look at the sun directly, you can damage your eyes permanently. And so they knew that about the danger of looking at the eclipse with the naked eye. So people were encouraged to go inside to ensure that people weren't looking up, especially the kids. So it goes way back. And as far as eclipses, it's a time of renewal, the sun alignment with the moon and also the earth alignment. The whole cosmic cycle goes through a regeneration process. It revitalizes the process. And so it's a gift that goes on for many years, over and over. It's a cycle. And as far as science goes, there's different definition of science.
Thank you, David.
Maybe we can cover it.
Thank you. It's been an honor chatting with you. So thank you to everyone here for joining us. Thank you for the Arboretum for hosting us for this very, very magical moment. This has been an experience of a lifetime and one that I definitely won't forget. So let's head back to Tahira and Gina in Kerrville, Texas.
Thanks, Joy. We're joined now by Jamie Favors, the director of NASA's Space Weather Program, to tell us more about some cool science that launched today during the eclipse. Welcome, Jamie.
Thanks, Tahira.
Hey, Jamie.
Hey, how are you?
Good. And so can you tell us, why did NASA launch rockets before, during, and after the eclipse today?
Sure, so it's really to capitalize on this really unique situation. Things like this happen every day, going from daylight to, sunset into, darkness. It happens so quickly that we can make these measurements, one right after the next, to really understand very precisely what's going on in the atmosphere. With sounding rockets, we can do that so quick back to back, the way we can't do with some of the really large rockets.
Okay, so Jamie, how high did the rockets actually go, and what's special about this area of the atmosphere?
Sure, and we just launched the second of those three just a few moments ago, and that's going pretty well so far. These particular rockets are getting about 250 miles above the surface, pretty close to right about where the International Space Station flies. And before you ask, everything's safe. We take care of the.
And it looks like we've got a playback of that right now.
Here
Oh,
go.
wow.
Perfect.
Can you walk us through this?
Sure. So from Wallops Island out in Virginia, on the Virginia Space Coast. So these rockets have multiple stages to them. So you're seeing one stage burn for a few seconds, then that drops off, and then the next stage will light to eventually take it all the way up to about that 250-mile mark above the surface to make those measurements in the upper atmosphere.
Wow, that looks incredible.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, and so what is that area of the atmosphere, and why do we care about it?
Yes, it's the upper part of our atmosphere. It's called the ionosphere. That's really from a perspective of heliophysics, where we really see a lot of that interaction with the sun and the earth. We care about it because that interaction can change the way our GPS signals work, our communication signals work, and even up a little bit higher, we start to see the influence of the sun actually causing the atmosphere to change its density in a way that can impact the way satellites orbit the Earth as well.
Sure. Okay. Great.
And so, Jimmy, today we've been doing this fun poll, to see who is Team Sun, Moon, and Earth. What team are you repping today?
Well, other than Team Science.
Don't choose the wrong answer.
Well, my bosses would make sure I go for Team Sun today for sure.
Oh, man. Okay. Well, thank you so much again. Thanks, Jamie. And folks, it is time now to say goodbye to our friend, James Traley, who has made sure we've known where and when to look up all day. James, thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Tahira. It's been fantastic tracking this eclipse across North America all afternoon with you. If you're still in the path of totality, you might be in a boat somewhere off the Canadian coast taking this all in. I hope you enjoy that view, that fleeting moment. We've made a big journey across. I can zoom out here on our eclipse board. You can see we started all the way down here in Mazatlan, Mexico. We've trekked all the way across and are now, like I said, breezing past Canada now into the Atlantic Ocean. It's been fantastic to track this. And if I turn on the shadow of our penumbra, you can see this highlighted area. Anywhere in there is still experiencing a partial eclipse. So If you're in that partial eclipse area, be sure to have your eclipse glasses at the ready so you can take in that fleeting moment. We just went outside a few moments ago here at Kennedy Space Center to take it in. It's fantastic, beautiful view. It's really cool to see. You got like a little chunk out of the sun there for us here, only about 50% coverage, but still fantastic to see. So really, it's been phenomenal. We've lucked out in general with the weather all of today too. That was the biggest concern I had going into the day here. It's been beautiful views up and down here, and so really fantastic to see this. Really been a lot of fun tracking this with our Eclipse Explorer. A big thanks again to our scientific visualization studio for putting this tool together. But for now, back to you, Tahira.
And here with us now is NASA Chief Scientist, Dr. Kate Calvin. Kate, welcome.
Hi, Kate. Hi, nice to be here.
So happy to have you back here again. I know we had the pleasure of sharing the stage together for the annular eclipse.
Right.
Now, with today's total solar eclipse, can you tell our viewers what would you say is the #1 takeaway from today's events?
I would say the #1 takeaway is that our universe is beautiful and understandable. We all got to experience this together today. We could predict when it would happen, and we did a lot of science today.
That's great. So
moving in an eastwards direction against the background of the stars. Now the whole thing is moving across our sky towards the west as the Earth rotates, but actually the movement of the moon itself is in the opposite direction towards the east. And so we see that at solar eclipses, solar eclipses always begin somewhere in the world at sunrise, and the shadow and the eclipse path moves to the east and ends at sunset in another part of the globe.
Yeah. So there you go. There's more information about that on our live news feed on timeanddead.live. There's links to all kinds of interesting articles about eclipses. There's reactions to the eclipse in there, so go and have a look. And we're going to be back very soon with Stefan Thorsen, our chief eclipse chaser, very soon.